What's going on, everybody? Dottz Gaming here, and today I'm bringing you all an updated add-on guide for the Elder Scrolls Online Harrowstorm patch. Haven't updated this guide in a while. These are just going to be the list of the add-ons that I'm currently using, and my UI hasn't really changed a whole lot since Scalebreaker. I think that was the last time I did this video, but I'd still, wanted to update this so that you guys knew exactly what I'm running add-on-wise right now. And I'm not going to go super crazy into like how I have all the add-ons configured, because I've been looking through my add-on list before I did this, and I really don't have a lot outside of like the default settings. I mean, for most add-ons, I kind of just install them and go about my business, but the ones that I do kind of want to touch on will probably just be like my Minimap and action duration reminder. Everything else is pretty much just kind of install and plug and play. It's nice and simple. So speaking of which, the first add-on we have is Action Duration Reminder. So Action Duration Reminder is my buff bar that you can see below. So when I use Volatile Armor, it shows the amount of time that I have left on the Volatile Armor buff. And then when I swap bars, I'm still able to see what it's like on that back bar. As you can see, when I use an Ardent Flame skill, my Molten Whip stacks up, and I can see the stacks as well as the duration left on them. So it just makes it really, really easy to, track kind of your skills and your buff management. And for me, it's like my #1 must-use add-on. And the only really configuration thing that I changed is that I turned off clear when combat ends. I found that to be very, very annoying. And also the other thing that I did was shift bar enable on and then move the shift bar, because at a default, it is right below your health bar. And so like if I was to use my Volatile Armor and then swap bars, it would push my health bar up to put the skill here. And I found it incredibly annoying. So I just basically moved that shift bar above my health bar, and that was really like the only huge configuration thing that I did. Our next add-on is going to be Addon Selector. So Addon Selector is another really, really good one. Basically, what this allows me to do is it create add-on packs. So when I'm PvPing, I have certain add-ons that I want active. When I'm playing with my guild in PvP, I have certain add-ons. When I have to do anything with Master Merchant, I have an add-on pack. When I PvP with a different guild, I have an add-on pack. And then when I go solo, Cyrodiil, or I'm just doing PGs, I have a separate add-on pack. So this basically allows you to create batch add-ons so that you can enable, or like a batch profile so that you can enable and disable add-ons at once instead of having to click each individual one. It's a really, really good add-on for like changing profiles in a pinch. Next add-on we have is Assist Rapid Writing. So I always get asked about this on stream. Assist Rapid Writing is the thing that allows me to mount up, put rapids on my bar, use rapids, and then it takes it off my bar automatically. So really, really good for traveling, especially around Cyrodiil and just like the regular overlands. It's really, really good for it. It makes traveling a lot faster. Just be careful when you're about to get towards mobs for combat, because if you get put in combat while you're on your mount, rapids can potentially get stuck on your bar. If like, let's say you're near like the last 3 seconds of your rapids. Basically what the add-on will do is then it'll put rapids on your bar to prep for the next rapids click. So if you're like in that sweet spot where, okay, I'm about to refresh my rapids, and then it puts it on your bar, and then you get into combat, it's now stuck on your bar, so you have one less skill. So just be aware that if you're going to see combat soon, it's better to just dismount so that you don't get it stuck. I also have BugCatcher, especially with like all the craziness that's been happening with add-ons recently in ESO, and like how Harrowstorm changed up a lot of stuff and a lot of add-ons broke. I was getting a lot of error UI things on my screen. Like, not that like anything wasn't working or that it was breaking, but it was like, hey, check this, hey, check that, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't notice nothing, nothing was like out of place. So I was just getting error messages. So BugCatcher basically catches those and puts them in like this little bag up here so that you can just, not worry about them and just kind of play the game. So takes those error messages away from your screen. The next add-on that we have is Champion Point Respec. So Champion Point Respec is basically the Champion Point version of Dressing Room. So it allows you to save Champion Point profiles. So what I do normally on my guys, I'll have a PvE CP profile and a PvP CP profile. So whenever I want to go PvP, I'll just hit load, confirm, and it'll automatically place those champion points. So it's really, really good if you swap between PvPing and PvEing. I also have Combat Metrics. Combat Metrics is the primo DPS add-on for doing parses, as well as, kind of seeing how much damage you do in a trial, what percentage you do, what your damage looked like on a specific fight, etc. So really, really good if you like to parse or do any PvE stuff. This is your gold star add-on for that. I have Constellations. Now, Constellations works in hand with combat metrics, where basically what it'll do is you do a combat metrics parse. You can save that parse and load it into Constellations, and it'll help you to optimize your blue CP. So especially if you're newer, this is a really, really good add-on. I still keep this installed just because, like, you know, if I'm parsing a new character and I kind of want to make sure, like, okay, how is my CP looking for this gear? I'll do a parse and then run this and see what I got going on. We have DarkUI. DarkUI is what gives my my whole user interface this, like, night mode look. It's really, really nice. Really, really loving the appearance of this. So, have that for that reason. We have Dolgubon's Lazy Writ Creator. So, basically what this allows me to do is make writs in a single click. Very, very helpful. So, whenever you walk up to a crafting table with this installed, it'll say, do you want to apply the default settings? You hit yes, and just apply those. And then anytime you pick up a writ quest, it'll automatically pick up the writ quest. When you go to a crafting table, you just click make writs, and it'll make them all automatically. And then when you go to the writ turn in place, it will basically allow you to just turn in the writs, and it'll open all the boxes for you. It does literally everything. It's good for those of us who are lazy when it comes to our writs. We have Dressing Room. Dressing Room is, again, kind of like how Champion Point Respec let me save profiles for CP. Dressing Room is going to allow me to save profiles for gear and skills. So basically, I can have, you know, a PvP solo small scale, PvP for group, PvE solo, PvE trials and dungeons, and I can save the different skill loadouts and gear. Oh, excuse me. Different skill loadouts and gear, and just, you know, load them up with a single click. So very, very, very helpful add-on, and another one that to me is like so nice, especially for, you know, switching profiles and PvPing, PvEing, etc., doing all those different things. We have Greyskull. So Greyskull is that add-on at the bottom of my screen here that allows me to see my spell damage. Really, really helpful. It can be a little finicky sometimes when you go to move it around. Like, as you can see, when I hit period to move it, it like disappears. So sometimes the stars kind of have to align for it to move. But, you know, once it decides, hey, you can actually move me, I tend to put it right here. Really good add-on, though, especially for, like, PvP. So I can see when my spell damage kind of peaks, and then it kind of go in for my burst there. I have Inventory Insight. Inventory Insight is incredibly helpful for seeing my my inventory across all my characters as well as my bank, especially, you know, being with how many builds that I make. I have 7 characters that I, you know, maintain PvP builds on. I like to see where things are at all times. So it just allows me to take an insight into my inventory, you know, look at all my currencies and stuff, etc., etc. So really good add-on, especially if you manage multiple characters. We also have Map Pins. So Map Pins places a variety of obviously locations on your map. This basically replaces the Constellations, Sky Shards, and Lore Books. You know, you don't really need those anymore. I think it was called Constellations. It was called something. I haven't used it in so long. But I think so. Yeah. So this basically replaces all of that with a singular add-on. So you can check what stuff you want to see or not want to see. It also has the Sigic Time Rifts. So I find this way easier to use just because, again, it's like all 3 add-ons in one. So really, really good to see where locations are on your map. We have Master Merchant. So Master Merchant is what I use to buy and sell things. So especially if I'm like in a particularly trading mood, I'll put this on, let it kind of aggregate a lot of data on my guild traders, and then from there I can go and sell things at a good price. Generally, it's good to leave this on if you're just like outside of combat, you know, doing stuff just so that it can accrue data. But if you're going to do any sort of like trials or PvP, turn this off because it is a hog on your resources, but otherwise leave it on so I could actually aggregate data. And I recommend being in at least 2 trading guilds to give you the most like sample size and the best amount of data points so that you can get accurate pricing on your sales. I have Miat Stealth Tech. So this just basically is what I use when I play on my Stamblade, and it gives me a way more like accurate tell of whether or not I'm stealthed or not. Instead of just showing like the little line or like the eye, it literally will say hidden or, you know, seen. Or so it just makes it way clearer whether or not I'm stealthed or not. So if you're playing Nightblade, I'd highly, highly recommend this one. Piece of Candy is an ult tracker I use for one of my guilds. So you're not, you know, you obviously don't need this, but for PvP, we use this to track our ultimates. I have Potion Maker. So unfortunately, Dolgubon's Lazy Writ Creator does not do potions. So I use this to do my potions. Basically, you know, you look, it'll say I need the essence of Ravage Magicka. So you just go to an alchemy station, you click it, and then it'll bring up a window, and then you click Poison, Magicka, bam, and then you just make your potion very, very easy. You don't have to select the waters or anything. It'll do all of that for you. Raid Notifier is your primo trial add-on for telling you what's going to happen in a raid when, you know, this thing is on this person, this thing is on that person, block now. So if you do trials, definitely something you're going to want installed. Sank's Ultimate Organizer is just something I use for one of my other guilds, again for PvP, so you don't really need to worry about this one. I have Taos AP Session. This keeps track of my kills, killing blows, deaths, AP per hour, and all that jazz while I'm PvPing. So if you PvP a lot, this is a fun one to have. Urich Skill Point Finder allows me to find skill points around the map so I can see, okay, what skill points haven't I gotten yet? Which ones do I have? So if I'm, you know, looking to get some more skill points for one of my characters, I can use this to see maybe what quest lines I haven't picked up, what sky shards I haven't grabbed, etc. I have Votan's Keybinder. This is just used to make all my keybinds account wide. I don't know how that isn't a feature in the game yet, so I have an add-on for it. I have Votan's Minimap. So Votan's Minimap is, of course, my minimap that you can see here on the right. And the reason I want to go over the configuration of this is because somehow, even if I like talk about it in depth, people get confused. If you want to move the minimap, because when you first install it, it's just going to be like jammed in the center of your screen. Lock position and size. Turn this off. And then you can move your add-on freely, move your map, resize it, do whatever you want. And when you're done, you come back here and you click on for lock position and size, and you'll be good to go. I have Votan's Search Box, another feature that I have no idea how it is in base game yet. So you basically go into your bags, and it has a little search icon here. So you can actually search your bags, so you can see what you have in there according to your search term. So incredibly helpful for inventory management. We also have WeaponCharger. This is another favorite of mine. So WeaponCharger basically keeps my weapons auto-charged with soul gems. I haven't charged a weapon since I installed this add-on. It is the best. So especially if you use Infused or if you use Torigs or, God forbid, both, this will keep your weapons completely charged 100% of the time, so you never have to right-click and charge a weapon with a soul gem. It will do it automatically for you. And then finally, my last add-on is yet another compass. Again, an add-on that I have my guild use for when we do some PvP things and people can't tell they're north from their south. This puts a nice compass on their screen to allow them to more easily see what direction they're going in and make it easier for me to call shots. Now, I have all these effing libraries down here, right? I have no idea which ones are still relevant, which ones aren't. So basically what you're going to want to do is through Minion.gg is how I download my add-ons. I highly recommend it. If you need help setting it up, I have a guide on my YouTube channel. I basically download all the add-ons that I want, and then I log in, and I see which ones don't work. And they'll be like kind of redded out like this, and it'll say dependency. So then I do this drop-down, and it says require add-ons. I need lib add-on menu, lib GPS, and lib map ping. So if those aren't installed by default by this add-on, I'll bring up Minion, search that specific library, and install it. That simple. But guys, that is my updated add-on list and what I'm currently using for my UI in the Elder Scrolls Online. If you guys found this add-ons list helpful and if you guys liked it, I'd appreciate it if you smacked a like on the video. If you have any questions, leave one. Feel free to leave it below, or any comments, go right ahead. And to keep up to date with the rest of the ESO content and other gaming content here I make on the Dottz Gaming YouTube channel, please hit that sub button as well as the bell to keep notifications on. So thank you guys for stopping by. Appreciate it a lot. As always, I'm Dottz Gaming. I'll see you all in the next one.